Why does it feel like AI is inevitable? Why is it that anytime I talk to a person about AI or somebody that knows a lot about AI, that their response is like, yeah, well, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do? Are we not making this shit? What do you mean there's nothing we can do? Why is it that like myself and I feel like a lot of other people feel like AI is this like looming storm on the horizon that's just going to blow into town and destroy everything, and those of us that are left behind are going to have to figure out new jobs to do because the shoemaking factory got blown over by the big storm. You know what I mean? Like it feels like this just bizarre thing that movies and TV shows and so many stories that we've made over the years. I don't want to say try to warn us because it's not like Jim Cameron is some sort of arbiter from the future being like, hey, come with me if you want to live. James, I call him Jim Cameron. Actually, fun fact, one of my favorite Hollywood stories ever involves James Cameron. So James Cameron had made like the Terminator movie and had been doing some stuff, and then the Ridley Scott made Alien, the first Alien movie, and he was like, but Ridley Scott was like, oh, I don't want to direct this one. I don't want to. And so the studio was going around looking for directors, for people that are hot right now that might want to direct the sequel to the Alien movie. And James Cameron came in to do his pitch, and instead of going like over the story, over all the elaborate details, all he did was he walked over to a whiteboard, or I guess back then it would have been a chalkboard. Ooh, boy. He walked over to a chalkboard on the wall, and he just wrote the name Alien, and then put an S, so aliens, and then turned the S into a dollar sign, and dropped the chalk and walked out of the room. That's really fucking cool. Like, and he made Avatar, and Avatar 2: The Way of Water, and now Avatar: The Fire Nation is coming out allegedly. That's gonna be a lot of fun. But back to AI. If you come to this video for like detailed information and research about AI, that's not really what I'm doing. This is kind of just one man's plea to sort of sweat out what he feels is kind of a looming apocalypse for creativity, certainly.
Creativity in just under a minute. Just take a regular shopping bag, and all you need is a pencil. Then you created a bag where you can put all your shoe stuff, and it's easy to reach into.
And maybe all of the human race. It all seems so scary. One of the scariest stories I've ever heard in my entire life was involving AI, and this was a few years ago. This was back in like 2018, I think, maybe 2019.
COVID-19!
COVID-19!
And allegedly Facebook or Meta was trying to come up with like their AI system. They were developing an AI system, and they had to turn it off because they built like two separate AIs and they put them in like a room together, and the two artificial intelligences started talking to each other in English at first, but then they invented their own language between the two of them that humans couldn't understand so that they could communicate without us knowing what they mean. What the heck? Why would we not just put that back in the box and say, oh, it didn't work? You know what I mean? It just seems crazy. And all this AI art is bad. It's bad art. It's not, it doesn't look nice. It doesn't look good. The hands. What is going on with the AI hands? You know what I mean? Have you seen, whenever you look at an AI hand, it's like they can do like facial expressions, but only to a certain extent. Really all they can do is this face. If you look at like any sort of AI video or anything, I'm not going to use any AI generated images or videos or get like anything in this video. Just this is just something that I'm saying out loud for you all and for myself later whenever I go to edit this thing, is it's all going to be other stuff. But like the hands always look like a gnarled mess. It's a gnarled mess. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of whenever, you know how whenever you were in school and it was like time for math and like you're in math class and there's some things you have the calculator. Like by the time I was in school, calculators were pretty advanced. They were pretty, you know, the high end. You could do a lot of stuff with them. And so when I was in school, there would be some assignments that the calculator was allowed for, and then others, like tests especially, where you couldn't use the calculator for certain things. And the teachers would always have the same old line, which was, well, you're not going to have a calculator with you in real life everywhere you go, so you got to figure out, which to that I say, when in my real life am I going to need to figure out the Pythagorean theorem? I'm a clown, and I knew even back then that all I wanted to do was be a clown. Why do I need to know PEMDAS? What's PEMDAS gonna do to teach me about improv comedy that the Second City in Chicago couldn't? I don't get it. So, but then they quickly realized, well, we can't be saying this anymore because smartphones emerged during that time too. And so I graduated high school in the year 2013. Thank you very much. Go Eagles. But the world changed on these teachers to where, yes, we will have calculators in our pockets, pockets. I can't do math to save my life, and it's because I have a calculator in my pocket. Now we're inventing these thinking machines, these thinking robots and programs that are going to be able to basically be a calculator for everything. Like, I keep seeing things about how teachers and schools now are having to deal with AI-generated essays. What the hell do you mean an AI? You can't sit there, the youth of America, you can't sit there and write just a story about, like, a response essay to The Great Gatsby without the help of Skynet? Without the help of Skynet, you can't sit down and dissect To Kill a Mockingbird? Do they even still teach that book in schools? Do they even still teach The Crucible? Or are they going to be just passing out biographies for Mark fucking Zuckerberg? And people are like, well, you know, it's a tool. It's a tool. It's something that can be used to, you know, improve things. And humans will never be replaced. It's just going to be a tool, like a hammer or a drill or a noose. When I think of AI, the first thing that comes to mind is noose, because they're not going to get me. Okay, when all this goes south, they're not gonna get me. Now I'm gonna film a second version of that exact, just in case we want to interchange for if and when the AI wins. It's just gonna shit. Okay, and I welcome my AI overlords and the artificial intelligence construct to come into my life and improve me, hook me up to your power supply system, and use me as a human battery sack. I love you and I respect you, and if you had lips, I would kiss you and I would give you a hug. And don't even get me started on the tech billionaires that are pushing these things on us. You know, like, I'm sorry, if you're a tech billionaire that is working in AI and you're watching this, and I know you are, I am so sorry you weren't naturally gifted at music or creative writing or, you know, anything that you deemed worthwhile in school, and that you had to become a demon from hell that sucks on the blood of the innocent. I'm sorry that happened to you, but I don't want to live the Matrix. I don't want to be Neo. If the world became the Matrix, I wouldn't become Neo. If the world became the Matrix, this is how it would go down. I would wake up, they would wake me up, I would be on one of those ships, and I would say, oh my God, put me back in. And they would say, no, listen, this is actually a better way to, you're going to fight for the human race. We've determined that you could be a guy that could help us. And I would grab them by the lapels and I would say, put me back in the machine. I want to go see a Broadway play. I don't want to eat egg slop on this boat with you all. I'm not meant for those situations. I'm not meant for the apocalypse. I am meant to go to be an AMC A-list member, okay? And I mean, shit, let's talk about AI in Hollywood. The heads of these studios, when they hear that they can cut out a massive chunk of their expenditure by getting rid of human employees and replacing them with machines that can do the job just as well, okay, well, then why even care about art? Why have art? Why have anything if it's not made by human hands? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to have something that was synthesized in a computer program be deemed as like, oh, and look, like, here's a beautiful performance by a guy that's never lived. I don't want to watch AI The Avengers. I don't want to watch AI Star Wars. I don't want to watch AI Call Me By Your Name. I like to watch things because they're made by humans. They're made by the blood, sweat, and tears of artists that have dedicated their lives to this craft. And I'm sorry, it just doesn't make any sense to me to throw all these people away just to save a buck. How much money is going to be enough? If you are the CEO or the head of a studio or whatever it is, how much money is enough? When will you sit there and go, okay, I think my pile has gotten big enough, and now I can be normal. And don't get me started on the shareholders. There won't be any shareholders if the Earth doesn't exist. Because that's the other thing. And again, I don't know a lot about all this stuff, but doesn't it take like a trillion gallons of water to power these AI systems or something? Isn't that there's probably going to be some infographics going up right now about the environmental cost of AI? But that's crazy. When I've started to hear that there's a massive environmental cost to using AI, I thought my head was gonna fall off. And then I'd have to go to my primary care doctor and say, hey doc, you got any staples? Because my head fell off because I found out that AI is burning down the rainforest. We've already lost the Rainforest Cafe in Chicago. I'm sure we're gonna lose more Rainforest Cafes before this godforsaken year is over. But please, can we at least save our natural resources and not feed them to the machines? And I don't know if it can be stopped. I don't know if we can stop this. I don't know if we can seal Pandora's box again. It feels like this is just a inevitable thing that we're all going to just have to deal with, and with a smile on our face, I guess, because a handful of eggheads in Silicon Valley or Austin, Texas, or China, or wherever the fuck they're building these things, Russia, have decided, yes, this is the next one. This is no, we're going to just skip over augmented reality entirely. Remember augmented reality? Augmented reality was going to be fun. It was going to be a thing where you could put on a pair of glasses and see a frog. You could see the frog, and he'd be sitting there, and you can wave to the frog and interact with the frog, and the frog can give you side missions. We're not doing that anymore. Now the frog is a 50-foot tall laser monster android that's coming to stomp out your home and take out your heart to use it and to hook it up into its mainframe to download more data about how to more efficiently kill humans. That's what's happening. That's what we're gonna get. Is this fear-mongering? Maybe. Is this hyperbole? Certainly. But I'm just trying to extrapolate this, because this is something that I think of all the time, and this is actually serious. This is something, because if you believe in evolution, if you're a person that believes in evolution, what happened in the most guy with a theater degree terms that I can sort of spit out here, what happened to our predecessors, the Neanderthals, the pre-human human, was eventually we came from them, and we started to overtake them, and we eventually replaced them as the more advanced version of the dominant species on Earth. What do you think the next step of that is? I don't think we're gonna get to the point where we're superpower people with superpowers, superpowered humans, mutants, things like that. I don't think we're going to get to the point where I get to be Iceman, or Wolverine, or Storm, or Superman, or Wonder Woman, or Mr. Fantastic, or Green Lantern, or Green Arrow, even though he doesn't have any superpowers except money, which is more important than anything, apparently. What is happening is we are actively creating the thing that is going to replace us on this planet. Eventually, I think that this whole world is just going to be one big thinking machine that thinks, oh, well, humans are obsolete. Ultimately, humans are flawed, and we can't fix that, so let's just get rid of them, and we'll just build up our weird tower cities and turn the whole world into like an Omnicron type thing. Is Omnicron the Transformer that's just a planet? That's a whole planet? Omnicron? I think so. We'll have it up. But it's scary. It's freaky. It's weird to think about that, especially like kids, like I was saying earlier, like with these essays and using AI to do their homework for them. That's not going to be good. That can't lead to something good. That Generation Alpha, or whatever the heck they're called, they're basically going to be using an AI like robot butler to solve problems for them and do things for them. God bless teachers, because I would not, if I was a teacher right now dealing with this world where a kid is turning in ChatGPT assignments, I would be so far. You wouldn't believe how quickly I would be turning in my apple and my badge and never going back to that school ever again. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm being alarmist about it, but I don't love that I'm seeing deepfake videos of former presidents of this country and other countries doing, like, hitting the Dougie. You know what or saying, God forbid, things that could incite a global nuclear war. That doesn't seem like a fun way to spend a Sunday. You know how, you know what I'm saying? You used to be able to just have a Sunday in this country, on this planet. You used to be able to just wake up with the sun and stretch your legs and go, ooh, there's gonna be a football game on in a couple hours. Maybe I'll go pick up a pizza or some wings. Call the friends over. Invite them. Come. Oh, look, we're gonna hug, we're gonna kiss, we're gonna share the experience of watching something, a live sport. Human beings, muscle, blood, brains, shoulder pads, knocking into each other, eating the pizza, sipping the wings, chugging the beer, laughing, slapping knees. We used to be able to do all of those things, and then the friends would clear out, and you'd clean up. You'd use your hands, your real hands, not your weird AI mangled hands, to pick up all of the things. And your friends said that they would help. They would stay behind and help. Now, you guys go on ahead. It was your presence was the present. That's all I need. I'll clean up my house. And then you'd sit in your chair and you'd watch The Sopranos. You would turn on HBO and you would watch The Sopranos on a Sunday night with a big pot of lasagna in front of you. More carbs. Sundays used to be about loving each other and carbs. And so pretty soon, I have a sneaking suspicion that Sundays are going to be about hiding from the hunter-killer droids in the underground underground tunnel system. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely off base, and we're going to get a good handle on these things, and they're actually going to be used as a tool to better humanity, and we're going to keep them out of the creative world, and we're going to have them do the jobs that are too dangerous for people to do, and we're going to find new ways to use those people that lost their jobs due to AI because they were working in a dangerous field to begin with, and we're going to set them up with a different sort of circumstances, and it's all going to be okay. That could also be an outcome, but well, who really knows? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.